Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is your motivational high five on persistence. Let's do this. Hello friends, I come to you with some honesty. Sometimes I find myself at the end of the month realizing, I got to get a podcast episode up because I promised you guys one episode a month, at least at this point. And sometimes the end of the month surprises me. I just got to be honest here. And so it's the 25th of November by the time that I am recording this. And I know that tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And it's a Thanksgiving weekend. So that means a long weekend. I plan to be at home. And there's no one here at the office. So I am recording with no distractions or any other noises. And I know that Monday being the last day of November, which maybe was when this releases, it might be more noisy and people around. So I'm trying to get this out. I want to go home soon. I didn't want to write and record an episode. I'm just being honest here, but I have to do it. It's kind of like now or never in order to meet my goal of an episode a month. And so I haven't even thought of a topic. I'm just sitting here like, gosh, in order to do this, I really have to persist. Persistence. So I just sat and for a while and just thought and did a little looking up some things. And persistence is a good word for it, I think. And sometimes you just have to go for it. Sometimes you just have to do it. So I didn't do a whole lot of like note taking or outlining an episode, but we're going to jump right into it. Persistence, as far as I understand, is having to do with a lot of monotony. It's a lot of the same thing over and over again. And so here we are at the end of a month and episode 111. In order to get it done, in order to do that, I have to start up a session, get into my podcast session template, get the mic set up and things all ready to go, and hit record and start talking. It feels like persistence. Feels like just go. And it got me thinking about a lot of the things I do in my life. Here I am at episode 111. You might think that's perseverance. Kind of the same thing with maybe breaks in between, but just continuing to show up, performing the same tasks is maybe less about perseverance and more about persistency. And yeah, so thinking about a lot of different things in my life and the things that I've been able to accomplish, at least to me, they feel like accomplishments as an adult, has to do, now that I think about it, a lot with persistency. Just kind of this continually showing up over time again and again and again. And eventually it turns into something. For example, building a disc golf course. And some of you have been along that journey early on. I've talked about it in the podcast episodes. But that was a 2-year project. And not only the manual labor of actually building it, that was actually maybe just 3 or 4 months of it. But raising enough money, getting whole sponsors for each and every hole, different companies and organizations, and people donating money, raising about $36,000, planning it and submitting plans to the Army Corps of Engineers and getting things signed off and going through the political red tape, several different Parks Board meetings, and trying to help people catch the vision and pass things along. Man, that was persistence. In order to build my business of music, that has been since 2012, continually writing songs, over 700 tracks, and songs for different projects, and to license through different stock audio libraries and things like that. That's a lot of music, by the time I'm in my mid 30s. And I didn't start till 27 years of age. So a little later on into my late 20s, a good 5 years into my young adulthood or so, after college, finally starting this new career. And so again, just showing up and just persistence. And then also from those tracks and others, building consistent streaming revenue on different platforms, especially Spotify, but Apple Music as well, and Amazon Music and stuff, getting about 50,000 streams a day across all the different platforms has taken a lot of work and hustling and persistence as well. I just finished my 4th marathon. Marathons are all about persistence. You may think about the actual marathon, 26.2 miles, involves a lot of perseverance. I would say, yes, that is true to get to the end of 26.2 miles. But the persistence is the training up to the marathon. So yes, 26.2 miles is a long time in one shot, or a long distance in one shot, but you're running and you're training for maybe running over 200 plus miles in order to get to that fitness level to be able to do 26.2 miles in one shot. So the training runs over and over again and racking up those, that is persistence. That is working up to the ability to go 26.2 miles. And along with that, raising and hitting goals to raise money for clean water with Team World Vision. And so it's all about kind of coming back to it, persistent, all that stuff, and then journaling every day. I started journaling every day in 2014 and continued with that. It's all about persistence, showing up. Persistence also builds long-lasting relationships, hardy relationships, things that can withstand the blows of life, the things that you come in contact with, the things that you collide with. Marriage is something that always involves persistence, showing up to your spouse and doing the hard work, like doing the hard discussions or serving in the right way or in a good way, and doing your chores that matter in relationship. And then parenting. My son is very persistent. If he wants something, I'm learning a lot from him, but to continually keep my cool, keep my head on my shoulders, and answer his questions and his needs and his desires, and having those conversations. And as he's getting older, more deep conversations, it is constantly making the decision every day to be persistent in pursuing and growing that relationship as well. Persistence builds that longevity of relationships. Persistence is what builds portfolios, big, vast portfolios. And again, another one, a diverse portfolio, you're thinking financially speaking, and that is, every month or whatever, setting something aside. It is persistent. It is monotony. It is over and over and over again to build something. And also the changes in your character, the changes in the healthy growth and the healthy narratives that we involve and choose to believe and help rewire our brain again. And hey, that message, I always talk about it every episode. Why? Because I'm being persistent with it, because that is how we do it. This is how we grow and get better. Persistence. And because persistence is so powerful, it'll wear down a groove. Years of water dropping on a rock will make a hole through the rock. It'll carve out vast, strong structures. Mountains were carved through the slow persistence of glaciers. Because persistence is this powerful, because it is all the more reason to decide, are we being persistent with things that we want to be persistent about? Are things that we want to have happen? Are we being persistent with in creating things that we're proud of? Are we being persistent in things that are helpful? So if, for instance, you're in a job that you hate, but you're persistent in that job and maybe it'll change. Maybe I'll be able to climb the ladder eventually, or maybe all of a sudden I'll start liking it. And we're persistent there and we never get from that. That is not helpful, not healthy persistence. Or maybe in a relationship where we are being abused and he or she will change if I just stay persistent, but if they're never willing to change, it can be really harmful to you. It's a persistence that's not very healthy. What sort of things are you being persistent with these days? Are you getting excited? Are you seeing the fruits of it? Or do you feel more stuck because of it? I think that's a big indicator of whether these are good things to persist with. Like I said on the last episode, like Kylie said on the last episode, kind of the new thing for us is persistence with this new children's YouTube channel. And Kylie, it's an art channel that Kylie leads, and she does a great job. It's called Kylie Makes It. And the first few videos were not getting the feedback or the views or whatever that I was hoping, and we just kept persisting, and one kind of blew up. And, that's all relative, but we have two big milestones that every beginning YouTube channel is trying to hit. And we hit the one much quicker than I thought we would, and we've almost doubled that. And we're closing in on the second one here real soon. And if we just got discouraged after the first 6 videos and stopped, we weren't persistent, we would not have seen the fruit that we're seeing now. And we know that can all change, and we're learning as we go. That's the thing. We're persistent, but as we're persistent, are we proud with the portfolio that we're building? Are we proud with the product we're putting out? And I just keep going back to that indicator of whether this is healthy or not. And yes, we are so proud. We believe in this message that we are putting out, and we are seeing the fruit of children exploring their artistic selves, and kids and their parents becoming connected on a deeper level. We've heard several of those stories, and that's very, very exciting. And so this is a healthy persistence for us. I've heard it said before that someone who manages a band, he said that he would rather work with semi-talented artists that were persistent, that were motivated to keep at it, than someone who's incredibly talented and lazy at the same time, or just doesn't believe in themselves enough to keep putting in the work. There's a quote by comedian Steve Martin that says, "Thankfully, persistence is the great substitute for talent." Persistence is all about day by day putting in the work, just chiseling away, just chiseling and mining and digging into that mountain to find, we might hit some gold, we might hit some treasure, but are we learning things along the way? Are we building a portfolio along the way? Are we proud of the people we are becoming and the products we're putting out along the way? And that is the indicator of, is your persistence healthy? Is your persistence healthy? Is this a healthy thing to pursue? Is it building something that we're proud of? Friends, here we are at the end of another episode 111. Thank you for your persistence. You made it to this end. You maybe have listened to 111 episodes. If that's you, send me an email. I want to shout you out. Just go to phillarson.net and find the contact form and send me an email. I want to shout you out. That is some persistence. It's awesome. So we do this. We grind. We show up. We are persistent about our brain health, which translates into so much how we view life and how we view ourselves. We engage in the science of neuroplasticity. We introduce positive narratives and positive storytelling in our life that combats the negative narratives, the negative story, the negative wiring. Yes, wiring that's so electric in our brains. They've been persistent, so they have grooves. They're powerful. And so we got to combat and reroute that energy, those neurons firing. And it's hard to do, but how do you do it? Persistence. I hope you said that. Persistence. That's how we do it. So today, when you find a reflection of yourself, when you look at yourself and you're being persistent with this practice, will you say this out loud? Out loud. Do it out loud. Here we go. Today, I choose persistence in order to build helpful things that last. And friends, sometimes you need to reevaluate what you thought at one point and maybe was at one point helpful or more healthy to be persistent in and isn't anymore. Don't lie to yourself. Here's the deal. One of those things that I talked about before, I don't do anymore. Journaling every day. It was great for a time. It really was. It wasn't helpful for me after a while. It's a healthy thing, yes, and it's helpful for a lot of people. But as of like 4 months ago, I stopped journaling every day. I just stopped because it wasn't helpful for me. I wasn't becoming as honest with myself in my journaling. I was more writing for someday, like maybe when my grandkids would find and read my journals, which when I started it, I did not want them to, and I hope they don't. That's not what it's for. It's for my brain health, but it got away from that. So reevaluate. These things may seem good, and maybe they were for a while, for a time, for a season. And drop the things that you're being persistent about that aren't helpful to you anymore, because it'll just get you stuck. But anyway, that's not for anyone to decide but yourself. But don't you deserve it? Don't you deserve the persistence of even asking yourself, being persistent in your questioning of yourself? Is this helpful? Is this helpful? Is this helpful? Day after day, be persistent in order to chip away the things that aren't helpful to you anymore and to carve you out the best possible you could be. Be persistent for you. It starts with you.